cold shock response is gasping, immediately followed by hyperventilation. Now, panic can prolong this hyperventilation, and uncontrolled breathing can make it very difficult to coordinate your swimming movements. So if you don't have a life jacket on at this time, it'll be very difficult to maintain your airway above the water and you could drown.
The second effect of immersion into cold water is cold incapacitation. After the initial cold shock response, your muscles and nerves will start to get so cold, they'll even stop working.
Cold incapacitation can involve swim failure, or can also affect survival activities like putting on a life jacket or a survival suit if you don't already have it on, or being able to operate a communication or signaling device. Again, if you're not wearing a life jacket during this phase, you may be unable to keep your airway above the water and you may drown.
The third effect of cold water immersion is hypothermia, and unlike cold shock response or cold incapacitation, hypothermia does not happen quickly. It takes some time. But in spite of that, if you find yourself in cold water without proper thermal protection for 30 minutes, 60, or sometimes even longer, you will become hypothermic.
Your core temperature will decrease to a point where your mental acuity diminishes and your physical abilities will decrease, and you'll become more and more hypothermic.
The primary problem in hypothermia is a loss of body heat. Mild hypothermia is associated with body temperatures down to 90 degrees Fahrenheit or 30 degrees Celsius. The patient is usually alert and vigorously shivering, and the blood pressure and pulse are not depressed. Moderate levels of hypothermia have body temperatures between 82 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit. The patient usually has a slow pulse, a slow breathing rate, slurred speech, decreased mental skills, and has a reduced or absent response to pain. They may even be unconscious. They are usually not shivering despite being very cold. A severely hypothermic patient has a body temperature below 82 degrees Fahrenheit. They are almost always unconscious and not shivering, and have a severely depressed pulse, breathing, and blood pressure. They are at a high risk from suffering cardiac arrest from rough handling.
If you've already spent some time in cold water and survived the first three effects of cold water immersion, you may be subject to the fourth effect, which is circumrescue collapse. But for the most part, that's out of your control, but rather in the hands of your rescuers.
This can occur just prior to being rescued, during rescue, or within minutes to hours following rescue. The symptoms range from fainting to cardiac arrest. One of the causes is relaxation and decreased adrenaline production when the victim feels rescue is at hand. In the most severe cases, when a victim has been in cold water for a long time, they have a fluid shift in their body, blood volume decreases, and their vasculature is somewhat paralyzed. Thus, their ability to maintain blood pressure is decreased. The heart starts to work harder to maintain blood pressure, and the increased workload on the cold heart causes it to stop.